Hi guys, welcome to our video. Our video is about the group assignment of computer programming C++. We are from group 3 and our first member is Harsha, which is our group leader, and the others members included Umaira, me, Heng Chong, Ku Jinren, and Marshall Middle. So the topic of our video today is repetition, which is the fifth lecture of computer programming. So I'm in charge in this uh, explanation video because other part is taken by my group member. In this video, there are only me in explaining this topic. In this topic, there are other 6 subtopics, which are the 6 type of repetition, and these 6 type of repetition included while loop, do while loop, for loop, nested loop, continue in loop, and the last one is break in a loop. So in this video, I will try to explain to you guys the function of each loop and try to let you guys understand it uh, in a shorter time and in an easy way. Let us look at the first type of repetition, which is the while loop. A while loop repeatedly executes a block of code as long as a specific condition is true. This type of loop is useful when the number of iteration is not known in advance. So this is the example of coding of while loop. As you can see, the circle part is the keyword of how while loop being generated. So like example here, the condition is set as number of 10. So if the user key in more than 10, the whole coding will not execute. And if the user key in between 10, uh, the coding will start run. So for example, if we key in 3, and the coding will start run from 3 until 10. So this is how the while loop works. So the common mistake for this type of repetition is the loop cannot start or the loop is infinity. So now let us look at the do while loop. So a do while loop repeatedly executes a block of code at least once, then checks a condition to determine whether to repeat. So this kind of repetition is very useful when you want the code to run at least one time regardless of the condition. So here is the example for do while loop, and the keyword for do while loop is this. So in this blanket here, you just key in the condition that you want. So for this coding, the loop will keep repeating if the user didn't key in the letter S. So here is the output for the coding. The loop will execute the code first, then the condition is checked. If the condition is true, the loop will stop. Program keep repeat when the condition become false. So like here, for the loop 1 and the loop 2, the user didn't key in the letter S. So this coding will keep running until loop 3, the user key in 3 and the program will stop. So the common mistake for this loop is the loop cannot start, the loop is infinitely, and swapping do as well. The third type of repetition is for loop. A for loop is used to repeat a block of code a specific numbers of times. This kind of repetition is best used when the number of iterations is known in advance. Besides that, for loop also combines the initialization, condition, and update in one line. So this is the simple example of for loop coding. The keyword for loop is this circle part. Okay, so inside the bracket, there are initialization, condition, and update. So for the initialization for this coding, the start value will be 0. And for the condition is I less than 5. It means that the whole coding will end before the number of 5. So is the number 4. So let us look at the output here. So as I say just now, the numbers start with 0 and end at number 4. So the common mistake for this for loop included the loop cannot start and it is infinitely, and it also not initializing counter variable, and the last one is swapping the condition when initializing. Okay, so now let us move to the fourth type of repetition, which is the nested loop. So a nested loop is a loop inside another loop. So this kind of repetition is usually used when a task needs a repeat multiple levels of iterations. It also commonly applied in patterns, tables, and multi-dimension arrays. So the keyword for this nested loop is two loops, and for this nested loop, the both loop using for loop. So let us look at the outer loop first. It controls how many times the inner loop repeats. And for the inner loop, it executes fully every time the outer loop runs. So here is the output for the coding. Let's make some comparison. So for the inner loop here, the start value is number of 5 and it ends before the number of 10. So here fulfill the criteria of the inner loop. So for the outer loop, it start with the value of 0 and end before the value of 5. So yeah, here also fulfill the criteria 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So for the common mistake of this nested loop is both loops using the same counter variable. So this one really need to pay attention on it. If no, they will keep coming out the error. For the continue in loop, it usually used inside a loop to skip the current iteration and move directly to the next loop cycle. For this loop itself does not stop, only the current iteration is skipped. Usually this kind of loop works with for, while, and do while loops. So in this example, the continue in loop is used with the while loop, and the keyword for the continue in loop is if continue. A condition is checked inside the loop, and if the continue is executed, the remaining code in that iteration is ignored, and then the loop will proceed to the next iteration. And here is the output of the coding. The common mistake for this continue in loop is sometimes the loop will stop completely. So when it actually only skip the current iteration and continue with the next one, which can also cause important step to skip or even create an infinite loop if not used carefully. The last type of the repetition is break in the loop. The break statement is used to immediately exit a loop, even if the loop condition is still true. Once break is executed, the loop stops and program control moves to the next statement after the loop. For this loop, it same like the continue in loop. It usually works with for, while, and do while loops. So the keyword for this break in a loop is the break statement. So let us look at the output of the coding. So based on this output, we can notice that when the hashtag is keyed in by the user, the whole loop here will immediately stop and exit to the next statement, which is the don't enter hashtag. So the common mistake for this type of repetition is it not only skip the current iteration, when in fact it immediately terminates the entire loop. Sometimes this causing the loop to end earlier than intended. So that's all from me today. Thank you for watching the video.